Welcome to the show. I'm Jaded Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Alright, I got some Toonami news to talk about before we get into the meat of the show. Just let me go and find it.
Drinking water out of an apple juice container is so refreshing.
Alright. Starting on June 26th, Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, will be joining Toonami at 1 a.m., while Food Wars will be moving down to 1:30 a.m. So there you go.
Ah, by the way, you know who really should be airing Food Wars?
I've made that joke before.
Oh, okay. So that's where I heard it.
Yeah. Alright, so let's get to it. It's time for the Toonami preview. My Hero Academia, separated from her team, Yaoyorozu's leadership skills are put to the test in the second match of the class battles. On Dr. Stone, Senku's new invention, the Steam Gorilla, is almost ready to roll, but his assistant is missing to rescue Chrome, but needs some improvements. Regardless, time is running out. On Food Wars, Central's done playing games. Soma must face a former friend turned enemy and has 3 days to learn how to cook with an ingredient he's never used before. On the Promised Neverland, Vincent reveals his plan to enter the farm. After hearing this plan, Peter reconfigures the security to prepare for the intruders. Meanwhile, the shipment of children from the house is set in motion to fill what's already arrived. On Black Clover, with Yuna rumored to be the next Golden Dawn vice captain, the current vice captain challenges the new senior Magic Knight first class to a face-off. On Naruto Shippuden, Obito works to rehabilitate his injured body in the hopes of reuniting with Kakashi and Rin. By the way, that's the best episode title. I'm in hell. On Attack on Titan, Aaron Trump is extorted by the Warhammer Titan, whose tenacity leaves him stunned. With Marley's military joining the fight, he'll be hard-pressed to survive on his own. And on Dragon Ball Super, as War and War universes drop out of existence, most of the remaining commands are either strong or deceptive. The warriors from the 17th universe are taken by surprise by hidden threats that are finally making themselves known. And that is your today.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's get you updated on the wacky, the weird, the wonderful, the incredible thing that happened on Impact Saturday, which was, of course, the Big Against All Odds, which came to you from Daly's Place in the beautiful city of Jacksonville, Florida, which, by the way, had a little shocky walk for you. First, let's do the old who fought it and who won it all. Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer took on the Good Brothers in a street fight. And the Good Brothers won that one. Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer won that via the pinfall. Satoshi Kojima with Eddie Edwards versus Joe Doring with Violent by Design. And the winner of that was Doring via pinfall. Petey Williams versus Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin versus Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju, the number one contender match for the X Division Championship. The winner of that was a no contest. Rich Swann took on Morrissey, and the winner of that was Morrissey via pinfall. Tennille Dashwood with Caleb took on Jordan Grace with Rachel Ellering, and the winner of that little match was Tennille Dashwood. Fire and Flava took on Kimberly and Susan for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Fire and Flava retained via pinfall. Violent by Design with Eric Young, the champion, took on Decay for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. The winner was Violent by Design via pinfall. Deonna Purrazzo took on Rosemary for the Impact Knockouts Championship. Wow, what a match, what a match. Deonna Purrazzo took that one. And by the way, for those of you who are watching and wondering, were your ears deceiving you? No, they weren't. Kenny Omega took on Moose for the Impact World Championship. And your broadcasters for that match were Don Callis, Scott D'Amore, and Tony Schiavone representing AEW. Very nice. Very nice. Brian Hebner was the referee, and everything was going good for Kenny Omega. Well, and of course, so good, he won. That's right, he retained the title. And then, when the lights go out and back up, Sami Callihan goes in the ring with his bat and takes down the Young Bucks. Don Callis got on the mic and told Sami that he's the boss and he can't hit his family. Callihan goes to leave but grabs a chair to use on Omega. Callis then fires Callihan and says he's a EVP, evil, vindictive person, or executive vice president. He can do whatever he wants. Scott D'Amore argues with Callis as the two go to the back. Bull blank, Callihan yells as the show comes to a close. Now you're wondering, what's going to happen now? Well, figure it out, folks. I have a feeling Sami Callihan, for one night only, is going to find his suspension from AEW lifted for one night only. I just got this feeling in my bones. All right, let's okay. All right, there we go. Let's get you now. Man, that's schwitzing bullets here. Let's get you some more little information here. Let's see if we can't wrap that up. And we'll get you some other little news for you. Come on, boys, give me some little news. Give me a little love here. Give me a love check. Love Shakareka. Okay, there we go. That should do. Here. Kenny Omega was asked if there are limits to AEW working with other companies. Appearing on the PW.
And Steve accidentally dropped the call again. He's on the computer, so I don't know what's going on here. Welcome back.
Yeah,
You gotta
thank
quit
you.
hitting that button.
Yeah, no.
I thought you were on the laptop.
Yes, I am, and I still got to get the bugs out of this thing.
And how you keep hitting the button on the laptop?
I accidentally do, but I don't think it's. Well, no worry, folks. We're getting there. So It's like I said, it's a newish laptop. They keep saying the battery is low. How could the battery be low? I'm using the power plug. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's. As I was saying before we got interrupted by a Centon here. Okay, let me see if I can get us back on one track mind here. There we go. Okay. Kenny Omega on if there are any limits to AEW working with other companies. Appearing on a PWI podcast, AEW champion, Impact World champion, and AAA Mega champion Kenny Omega said there will always be limits. There will always be lines that you cannot cross, but I believe that there is a world, right place, right time, when you can see every company working together. And I don't necessarily mean every company. I just mean if another wants to work with another company, I think they'd be open to the idea. And I think, again, this is a terrible thing to say. One of the reasons the forbidden door, quote, unquote, was open with New Japan, it was probably due to what we're all struggling with right now, which is a pandemic. For us to take a step back and stop worrying about our own stuff and see what kind of world we're all living in, it's the same world, and how we need to set aside petty differences, how we need to set aside just age-old tropes of this is my company and my territory and stay the heck out. There's no way we can ever play nice and cross paths. I think it was great that now people are realizing we're all struggling the same way. We're all facing the same hardships. This is the same planet, and a lot of us are sharing the same fans. So why not make the world a bit of a better place as best as we can for what we do, which is something very minor in the grand scheme of things, which is just professional wrestling. We're not as important as a lot of us think we are, but if we can contribute in some kind of positive way with what we do and what we're good at, we need to take the motion to do that. That's always been my approach. And he, by the way, again, successfully defended the Impact World title against Moose on Impact against all odds. So there you go on that one. Let's give you an update on the health of Antonio Inoki. Wrestling legend, WWE Hall of Famer Antonio Inoki is currently hospitalized after having emergency surgery a few weeks back due to volvulus, or twisting of the intestines. Inoki spent much of 2021 in a hospital due to deterioration in his lower back, along with suffering from diabetes and a buildup of abnormal amyloid proteins in the heart, kidney, liver, and or other organs. He's dealt with weight loss because of his various health issues. He's posted numerous videos throughout the year to give updates to his fans. He's said to be in stable condition and able to fully communicate, although due to the pandemic, visitors have been few because of his condition and high risk for other illnesses. He appeared in this year's Dark Side of the Ring episode featuring the 1995 Collision in Korea event, which, by the way, you can see, I think, the full thing on YouTube. Wow. Let's see here. Let's give you one more. And they asked Mark Henry if Braun Strowman would be in AEW. Mark Henry spoke with TMZ Sports about some other wrestlers who he'd like to see sign with the company. Two that are high up on his list, Braun Strowman and Morrissey, otherwise known as the former Big Cass. Which, by the way, he still uses Big Cass, but in the Texas SWE Fury promotion. Now, Strowman was among WWE's budgetary cuts earlier this month, and Henry said he's looking forward to AEW talking with him in the near future. Henry responded about Braun, he's super high on my list. It's not an all Mark Henry decision, but there's already interest on both sides. So hopefully by the time he's allowed to wrestle in August, in the middle of August, I think, we can have a serious conversation about contractual things. But right now, there's interest in both sides. Now, as noted, Strowman is currently reportedly asking for $20,000 to $25,000 plus first-class airfare, two-night hotel stay, all meals and ground transportation covered for each appearance. He must have looked in our contracts. Henry also mentioned wanting Morrissey to come to AEW, but he's currently under contract with Impact Wrestling. Big cast, too, Henry continued. I love that dude, but I don't want to talk to people when they have contracts with people. I don't think that's fair. Morrissey commented last month that his contract with Impact is not long-term. He defeated Rich Swann on last night's Against All Odds. So, what do you think? Braun Strowman, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he and Redbeard were a part, and Bray Wyatt were a part of Brody Lee. And the late Brody Lee were a part of Bray Wyatt's stable, if I am correct in that. I think he wasn't he, Bray?
I don't remember.
But if he was, this would be a very nice little memory for the Dark Order. He'd be perfect, maybe as I'm not going to say the new leader, but maybe someone who can reshape the Dark Order. And by the way, everybody has been asking, hey, why hasn't -1 been on AEW for a while? Well, there's a little something that Tony Khan forgot to mention to all of us publicly. His mom gave Brody Lee Jr. the blessing to don the mask and be a part of the Dark Order on one condition. His grades are up and remain up. Well, his grades didn't remain up, so he was sort of quote-unquote banned from television for a while until they returned up, and they did this week. Don't forget, of course, AEW will be seen this Saturday night, 8 o'clock, live on TNT. Once again, Wednesday is, of course, playoffs. Some playoffs have ended, so... And one more story here before we call it a night, and I have to do a little cha-cha dance. David Penzer, who is a ring announcer and does more. Yep, he is a ring announcer. Was asked about this little partnership between, this working relationship between Impact and AEW. He says the alliance with AEW all comes down to television exposure. Quote, I'll just put it this way. Scott D'Amore and the people in the office, they realize where we are. Access TV is not a readily available channel. No poop. They're hoping to get bigger coverage. Before it was just music, and it was one of my favorite channels. Ironically enough, because I'm a huge live music fan. 3/4 of my DVR is saved stuff from Access TV, rock concerts and country stuff. As we know, Access TV was owned a bit by Brian Seacrest. I was very familiar with Access, but, most hotels you go to don't have it, and a lot of cable stations don't have it. They're bringing in Invicta and expanding with some of the Impact stuff. Penzer points to AEW's prominence on network television as a reason to rub shoulders with the white and gold promotion. We're not on TNT in prime time. We're not. We don't have Sting and JR and Tony and Dustin and Cody and the Young Bucks and Miro. Those are just a few. They'll have this young talent. Those are just the established ones. We're in a different place. I lay that all out because people say it's not a fair trade, but in my opinion, it doesn't have to be. Now, while Penzer recognizes that the balance isn't necessarily there, he's focused on the benefits Impact Wrestling sees from the partnership, and mainly its exposure in a bigger sense. It gives not only Impact the promotion, the promo that, hey, we're here too. It also gives a little bit of that stroke to Access TV, which, if I'm not mistaken, is partially owned by the good folks over at CBS, Viacom CBS. Now, just last month, reports surfaced that on-screen manager Don Callis, is no longer working as a co-executive vice president of Impact Wrestling. Penzer gave his thoughts on the apparent departure. Quote, I read what you read. Nothing was talked about the Impact tapings that we just had. There was not like a team meeting about it. Nobody pulled me aside. I heard about it when people started murmuring on the internet about it. It is what it is. I would be lying if I said that I had any insight into what happened, what did happen, why it happened. I'm just glad to be there. Like when I said I wouldn't have wanted to know who was coming out of the Nitro curtain, I don't want to know. And once again, thank you to the folks over at Wrestling Inc. for giving us some news to report to you here on the Wrestle Anime Hut. And with that, Brain, I think that's going to wrap it up for us for another wild week. Okay, so for the Brain, I'm the Baxman. This has been a presentation of Brainwave Entertainment in association with Mystifying Creativity Productions and Spreaker from iHeartMedia. We'll see you next week.
We're out!